So I'm with my buddy Cam right now, and we're walking through this area, and we're looking kind of at an overlooked spot right now, and we're what, 30 yards, 40 yards off the road?
If that.
Yeah. So we're 40 yards off of a freaking highway right now, and we jump up here, and Cam, you stand right where I was. We just had at least 2 deer, maybe 3, get up, and I'm standing in its bed right now. That was crazy. Come look at this, Cam. But right now we got a wind that's coming from the north, which is that way, and it's going right over the back of this deer. I believe it was a doe, probably a younger deer, probably a year-old doe. But you can tell this wind is blowing the cattails like this. So we got the wind coming over the back, and they could probably hear us for a while, but they're waiting for the last second to spook. What's nice is the way that this normally lines up, as the predominant wind is blowing from the highway. It's blowing from our axis. So we assume that with the predominant wind here, we got mature bucks bedding here habitually, commonly able to smell where they want to travel, because we believe they're crossing the highway actually to get to food. And it's a really unique situation where we believe they're crossing the highway and they're smelling that access most of the time out of the year. But this is really cool that it worked out like this. We'll probably end up jumping more deer, but it's very hard to get on camera. Camera takes about like 8 seconds to boot up, and these deer spring up at the last second and they're freaking gone. We're getting through some areas, and a lot of people at this point wonder why they're not seeing rubs if mature bucks are bedding here. And honestly, you just gotta look at the brush. Like, this is all extremely dead stuff. They don't have much incentive to rub on here. I'm pretty sure that the more they dig into that bark, the more they make it bleed, because they can smell when something is fresh broken. Actually, like for instance, when you cut grass, it releases that awesome smell everyone likes, that fresh cut grass smell. That's actually the grass releasing norepinephrine, which is a hormone that's to signal that they're healing, but also signals to other plants and animals that it's in pain. That's how deer can tell when you cut stuff fresh in very manicured private areas. They come over, they smell that norepinephrine in the air. It's the same thing that prey animals give out when they're injured. It's the same reason a lion can target one zebra in a pack of, or a herd of 100. It's because they can smell that scent it's giving off from it being injured and healing. So that scent is part of what makes rubs so telltale and allows bucks to embed their scent really in those rubs. When you have dead plants like this, it's a very low incentive for them to actually rub into there, because their scent doesn't stick very often. It doesn't stick for a long time, I should say. So in this case, we're not gonna see rubs on cover like this, but it's the intelligence of the bedding that's leading me to believe mature bucks are here. It's not really whether there's torn up rubs or anything like that. We might, when we get to some more live cover and some red brush out there, see a few rubs, but I don't need rubs to qualify whether this area is good or not right now. So right here, we're coming across an area that doesn't have crazy rubs, but we're seeing a lot of this stuff. Look at this. We got branch snapped off here, snapped off here, snapped off here. This one's got everything picked off on it there. If you turn around, we got branches snapped in opposite directions, so that's not just wind. And all around us, we've got a whole bunch of branches that are just snapped off. Here's an actual rub. We missed this. Here's a smaller, older rub right here. And from what I understand, last year I believe we had a bad year for oaks, so it might make sense that they weren't necessarily rubbing this last year. But this area is getting torn up, snapped off. We've already bumped a bunch of deer that we think were does. This is not an area that's close enough to the kind of way out there mature buck bedding that we want to target, but it's an area that we think they're culminating. We've got multiple trails meeting here, and I think it's no coincidence that when we have trails meeting near doe bedding, downwind to doe bedding and downwind to the access, that all these branches are getting snapped off. I'm thinking that this is an area that bucks kind of lay claim over back and forth when these does that are bedding in this area come into heat, and when they start to collate on a lot of the fresh food sources that they have here, the early season food, which also coincides with maybe there not being rubs everywhere. So what I'm thinking of doing is setting up a year-round survey cam. Unfortunately, with all this grass around here like this, it's probably going to get mistriggered a whole bunch, but I'm going to set that delay real high, and I'm going to put it on a single shot, and we're going to see if we can't get a survey of a bunch of this area and hope that these bucks are coming in and out of this area and traveling all throughout here. And this might actually be a scenario that you can use kind of like you do a hub scrape in hill country, where I might check this camera to see if bucks are habitually coming from that bedding that's further out there. So this camera might serve as an area to me that I can figure out whether that bedding beyond is being used actively or not, without actually bumping everything out of that bedding. Well, this is what we came looking for here, dude. There's not really much to say about this. It's a bed on a lone tree in the cattails with a lot of shade. So he's gonna be using this bed when there's shade. Early season bed, maybe a deer could tuck into there, but he's gotta bust through some cattails. Try to get shade from that main root ball. This is exactly what we thought we were gonna find. We got 3 deer hairs in my fingers. Now, pretty much everything I'm seeing in this bed is this length. I've had this theory for a while that the longer the buck hair, the more likely it is to be later in the season. A lot of guys will shoot bucks. I mean, I've shot bucks opening day before. I've shot deer opening day, and they have really short hair. And I just believe that when they're dropping shorter hair like this, you could tell it's a belly hair, like the thickness and the waviness of that one. It's a belly hair, but it's really short. I believe that that's indicative that this is being used early season. Now, something that might support that theory even more, Cam, if you come closer and focus on these hairs again. There you go. So it's thick, wiry hair. It's a belly hair for sure. Really easy to split, okay? I found hair in beds, and again, that's every hair I'm finding in this bed, and there's hairs all over it. It's all belly hair, all short, all easy to split. I don't think that this buck is using this bed late season, or whenever this shade is off, but I find this a lot in hill country, or I'll find it in beds that are used year round, and I'll find short hair, long hair, all sorts of stuff. I'll make sure I'm picking out belly hairs, not hairs like on their side. And that longer hair is stronger, it's harder for me to split, and all that fresh hair that's short is really easy for me to split. So that's telling me that it's been weathered and it's been sitting here for a long time. None of the hair in here is fresh right now. So I think this buck is getting bumped here after opening day. I think pressure's coming from the area that we were just at. I think he's isolating himself when they're not in bachelor groups, like this buck might be in a bachelor group right now. I think he's then isolating himself, coming out here, and he's using it in the early season. That's why we're finding not a lot of hair, not like he's shedding in it, but we're finding a bunch of short hair, and all of it's really easy to break because the last time hair was deposited here was early season, and it's had time to rot and kind of get old from then. I don't know. This is a theory I've had for a while. It's been true. It's the way I've aged a lot of different beds. I haven't heard many guys talk about it. I'm kind of surprised. I'm sure other people caught on to this too, but yeah, keep a lookout for the length of the hair you're finding in the bed. Make sure you're actually looking at belly hair for one, and then see how easy it is to split, especially when you're doing this summer scouting or doing spring scouting. If you're finding a lot of long hair and it's hard to split, it's probably later in the season. If you're finding a bit of short hair and it's hard to split, it might be just during the rut. It might be before they're putting on those thick coats. If you're finding short hair and it's really easy to split, it's probably really into that early season and maybe summer. So none of this stuff is that fresh, which is telling me that he's not bedding in it now in the summer. He's not bedding in it just in the preseason, but it's rotted and easy to break enough that he's probably bedding in it come the season when he's being pushed from those other spots, but not when he has that big thick fall and winter coat on. So keep an eye out for this. Let me know if you guys have seen things similar and if this has worked out for you as well.
Right now you can see standing in a good sized bed. All this is matted down, but you can see just how thick all of this surrounding area is. There's a trail in and out.
So this is like an area that I assume a nice bed is in. There's a little bit of branches collapsed on it. There's actually a good bed on the other side of that tree right there. But this is what I'm talking about when I talk about tree taps. So Cam, if you come real close here, one, this is kind of telltale. This will tell you right away. But some of the more subtle stuff, besides this broken here, just little taps in here. See how that wood's kind of rotting there? And right here, if you look, Cam, on this side, See this gouge right here? So that's a little bit of a tap right there. And if you don't believe me, I mean, here's another one here. There's literally a hair from the deer's head implanted into the bark there. So that's from his forehead. And you can just see that's just a tiny little tap. Now in this case, I think it's a smaller buck just hitting it a little bit. But you know what? I'm actually starting to doubt that, because now I look up here, turn up to your right here. Look at how high off this is broken up at. Look at the marks right here. That's going into that bark pretty good. This actually might be a pretty nice deer, dude. I think he's shifting between this bed right here and this one to your right. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. As he's going down to his right side. Big old tap right there. That's like, I don't know if it's on purpose or inadvertent, but I'm pretty sure they mark these trees inadvertently as they're trying to post through and sneak through. I see this a lot in hill country when you start to get down to really tight trails. They start to pop these trees on accident as they're coming through. I could see a buck trying to maneuver in here, turning his head a bit and poking the G2 or something like that right there. But yeah, I mean, he's not tearing up these trees. These aren't ideal trees for rubbing, but he's hitting a lot of these trees accidentally. And again, the intelligence of this bed, how isolated it is, that's definitely telling me that a mature buck's using this area.
It's hard to see, but through here, if you follow the broken cattail lines, leads right to a nice big bed. There's islands of tall trees layered all throughout here, and every single one has a big old bed right in the heart of it. And we're just zigzagging our way through.
Where do we set? Just a freaking tunnel. That is sick. It's just like, where do you set here?
You can see
It all just looks so good.
that tree,
I'm debating this
and
other
that
one.
tree.
But I don't know what's around it. There's just a mess coming through them cattails, dude. I bet you we stay here and there's deer all around us and we don't see a single one until last light. Like, this is just, like right now, to see the trail right now, look at this. You can see where this trail's going. It might be hard on the camera, but like, most of the time these trails are completely overgrown this time of year. These are just getting traveled so much. They're not really growing. We gotta find a way to shove up. Almost thought we kicked up another one. We gotta find a way to shove up here. Dude, you know what we should do? That other set we had over here, and this one. 2 people.
Yeah, cover the right side of the cattails on the left side.
That would be killer. Especially catch them on a wind coming back towards the access. So I don't think this is wind-based bedding. I think it's wind incentivized. Oh boy. This is gonna get dirty, dude. So we just finished up for the day. We started off really close to the road and we ended up getting super remote. We just kept following island after island back and tree after tree back. And we were hitting bedding like crazy, but we've got a very, very long walk out. It's getting a little bit dark now, so we're gonna head back. We ended up finding 3 different sets that I think Cam and I will both have a set for each. And we'll be able to target some bucks coming out of bedding and actually hunt this on our way back. So what we'll do is we'll use that camera to qualify if stuff's getting near the road at night, and then we'll hunt it and stage it in stages. So we'll kind of hunt closer and then work our way back. If we have something that's getting there consistently like 2 hours after dark, we might jump to that, especially if it's a very good deer, we might jump to that furthest set first. But this is a great opportunity to hunt in stages with a clean access in and out of the marsh. We're gonna go the way in that the deer don't go in or out. So we're gonna kind of bust our own trail back out through this now. But I hope you guys liked the video. It was great to be able to take my buddy Cam behind the camera. Cam, thank you for all the help. Can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Thank you. We started off in a really close to the road area, and we ended up getting super remote. We got a 90,000 mile. You can keep the video rolling. We have a 696 billion mile walk back to the truck. It's uphill, down through the cattails, all 5 ways. It's pretty insane.
If you go far enough, you just might stumble upon old Greg.
Watch out.